Mr. Kiley, would you like to close?
Yes, I thank the committee for your consideration, and I just want to emphasize that the issue of homelessness right now, the governor has recognized as a top priority. Californians of all party affiliations identify it as the most pressing issue facing the state. And when it comes to the difference between spending money and spending it effectively, that's a difference that really matters. For folks who are struggling with homelessness, that can be the difference between life and death. That can be the difference between turning your life around and starting a family and pursuing your dreams, or withering to mental illness or drug addiction. Mm-hmm. And so if we can have the data that will help us identify what strategies are working and which ones aren't, so that we can get the highest impact and do the most good with the funds we have, I think that's something that's well worth the time of the auditor's office, and would be a very valuable tool to inform our policymaking for the rest of this year and beyond. So I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kiley. Let me ask you a question, and I'm sorry to give you a heads up on this, but given that we passed 2020-112 already, looking at some of the homeless services, which we've had a discussion about, would you be amenable to holding your request over to maybe the next hearing to see what we ascertain and learn from the audit that this committee's already voted on?
Well, I mean, how quickly are we going to have the results of that audit?
It'll be, our next scheduled hearing for JLAC tentatively is proposed for the first week of August, but we may do a hearing before that.
Okay. That's not ideal, because I think that, as we all recognize, and as the government emphatically stated, this is a very urgent matter, and we're already going to be looking at up to 8 months potentially for the audit to be conducted. I will say that, I support Assemblymember Rivas's audit request. I think that's going to yield useful information, but it's information of a very different kind than that which we're seeking with this request. That is limited to the COCs. It is not concerned with spending, and even if it were, it would only even potentially cover about 2% of the overall spending that this audit would be looking at, and that would not be some sort of representative sample. It would only be one particular kind. So that would be my preference. I'd love to have the committee support today. Of course, if in the wisdom of the members, the votes are not there, and you'd like to take it up at some point down the line, I'd be very eager to work with you on that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe the votes are there for your audit request, so if you'd like to table it and perhaps we see what happens with Mr. Rivas's, that may change the mind of some of the members on the dais. So at this time, would you like to table, or would you like to move forward with a motion?
Well, I mean, I would like to give folks a chance to vote. We could always revisit it on reconsideration. Is that right?
The rules are different. Let me consult with the joint rules for the two committees, because we have the two houses.
Okay.
But you can always resubmit a letter.
Yeah, so why don't we do that? Why don't we do a vote? I'd like just to, I've had conversations with different members, and I think this is an urgent matter. And, I'd very much urge a yes vote today. And if things go otherwise, then we can take it from there.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kiley. Appreciate that. Obviously the scope is very large. The cost is very large for this one. This time I won't be able to support it, but I'm not saying I wouldn't support it in the future. I do want to see what's going to happen with Assemblymember Rivas's audit in 2020-112 to kind of inform me on where we should be looking and seeing, be that the informative basis as we move forward. With that, let me ask if there's a motion for Assemblymember Kiley's audit.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the bill.
All right. Moved by Assemblymember Chen, seconded by Mr. Patterson. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
The motion is to approve audit request 2020-106 concerning statewide homelessness funding by Assemblymember Kiley. Assemblymember Salas? Berner Horvath?
No.
Berner Horvath, no. Chen?
Aye.
Chen, aye. Patterson? Aye. Patterson, aye. Rubio? Vopel?
Aye.
Vopel, aye. Wood?